The Galactic Council Hall floated above the gas giant of Orion Prime like a shining jewel in the darkness of space. Its structure stretched for kilometers, glowing with energy fields and artificial lights. It was the gathering place of hundreds of alien civilizations, each one proud of its fleets, its colonies, and its long history among the stars. On this day, the humans walked inside for the very first time. Ambassador Jonathan Hale led the Earth delegation. He was a tall man with calm eyes, dressed in a plain dark uniform without gold or jewels. Beside him walked two officers from Earth's small space fleet, their faces steady though they knew every step was watched. Around them, aliens of all sizes and shapes filled the grand chamber, scaled, feathered, metallic, and even creatures that shimmered like living energy. They turned to stare at the humans. Some whispered, some laughed out loud. Earth had come late to the stars. Barely 100 years had passed since humans first left their system. Compared to the council races, many of which had sailed the galaxy for tens of thousands of years, Earth was young and small. And to the aliens, small meant weak. Humans, hissed a scaled diplomat with golden eyes. The new hatchlings. Another, tall and thin with luminous skin, tilted her head and smiled coldly. Do they even have a fleet, or do they arrive here with fishing boats from their seas? The words carried and laughter rippled through the chamber. Some of the humans clenched their fists, but Ambassador Hale only gave a small nod. He knew this reaction had been expected. At the front of the hall, the council speaker, a massive alien whose voice rolled like thunder, raised a hand for silence. Today, a new species seeks recognition within the Galactic Council. Representatives of Earth, step forward and declare your purpose. Ambassador Hale moved onto the central platform, his boots clicking against the polished floor. The holographic banners of Earth, blue, green, and white, rose behind him. His voice was clear and steady. Honored Council, humanity comes in peace. We wish to share trade, knowledge, and understanding. We are new, yes, but not without will. We ask for our place among you. The hall was quiet for a moment. Then came the laughter again, louder than before. Dozens of alien leaders shook their heads. Some banged their staffs against the floor in mocking rhythm. One alien warlord, a broad creature with heavy tusks, stood and pointed a claw toward Hale. His armor gleamed with jewels, trophies of countless wars. You speak of peace because you have no strength, he roared. We looked at your fleet. It is a handful of old frigates, slower than our scouts, weaker than our patrols. Your colonies are few, your technology backward. Earth is nothing but a green farm world. The hall echoed with cheers from his allies. The warlord's words were harsh, but many agreed. Ambassador Hale did not reply at once. He let the laughter burn itself out. Then he looked at the warlord and said simply, "Do not mistake patience for weakness." The warlord barked a laugh. Patience? No. You are hiding behind words because you cannot defend your own skies. Again the chamber filled with noise. The humans stood in silence, surrounded by ridicule. Some of the younger alien races looked on with pity, but most only sneered. Humanity's entry into the council was turning into a public insult. Still, Hale did not falter. He finished his short speech and returned to his place. His officers walked beside him, their eyes forward, their faces calm. In the private chamber afterward, the officers spoke at last. Commander Liu, a sharp-eyed woman, could not hide her anger. They think we are nothing. They believe our ships are weak toys. I wanted to shout the truth in their faces. Ambassador Hale shook his head. No, not yet. The more they believe in our weakness, the greater their surprise will be when the truth is revealed. Let them laugh. Every laugh is a blindfold they place on themselves. The other officer, Captain Reyes, leaned against the wall, his jaw tight. But sir, how long can we endure their scorn? Sooner or later, one of them will decide to prove their point with weapons. Hale's eyes were calm, but deep inside them burned a steady fire. Then they will see, and when they do, they will never forget. Across the chamber halls, alien diplomats met in groups discussing the humans with amusement. Some described them as bold children. Others called them reckless dreamers. A few warned against underestimating them, but their voices were drowned out by the laughter of stronger empires. In the great archives of Orion Station, alien historians began recording the event. The entry would read, "On this day the humans arrived, and the galaxy laughed." What no one knew, what no alien eye could yet see, was that humanity's true fleet was hidden, waiting far beyond the Council's gaze. The frigates on display, the ships that had been mocked, were only a mask. Earth had built them to be seen, to play the part of weakness. But in the dark reaches beyond Neptune, massive warships slept in silence. Their hulls were black as night, their weapons untested but powerful. They waited under strict orders, remain hidden until the time was right. Only a few leaders on Earth knew the full scale of this plan. For decades, engineers had worked in secret, designing weapons that could match or even surpass the oldest empires. For every insult hurled at Earth, a new innovation had been forged in silence. Ambassador Hale thought of this as he looked out from the private chamber window, watching the lights of the council hall flicker. To the galaxy, humanity was weak, but to itself, humanity was patient, determined, and ready. "Let them laugh," he whispered. "We know the truth." The stars outside glittered coldly as if listening. Somewhere in the deep black beyond, humanity's real strength was waiting for its moment. And when that moment came, the galaxy would remember this day, not for the laughter, but for the silence that followed. The news of Earth's request for council membership spread quickly across the stars. Within days, every trading port, every war camp, and every court in the galaxy spoke of the weak humans. The story repeated like an old joke. They came with toy ships. They spoke of peace because they had no weapons. Laughter followed wherever the name of Earth was mentioned, but not everyone was content with laughter. For some, ridicule was not enough. On the distant world of Varkesh, the home of the Krell Dominion, the warlord who had mocked humanity at Orion Station gathered his generals. His tusks gleamed as he smiled. "Words mean little," he growled, his deep voice echoing in the war hall. "If Earth truly wishes to be among us, let us test their courage. Send a raiding fleet. Strike at one of their colonies. Let us see how long their farmers last against warriors." His generals pounded their fists against the metal table in approval. To them, war was a sport and humanity was a new prey. Within weeks, a squadron of Krell warships, sleek, black, and armed with plasma cannons, slipped out of hyperspace near the small human colony of New Horizon. New Horizon was a young settlement. Its buildings stood under the pale light of a distant star, surrounded by fields and rocky hills. Children played in the streets, workers repaired harvest machines, and families dreamed of expanding their homes. The colony had only a single orbital station and 3 human frigates for defense. Compared to the Krell fleet, they looked fragile, like wooden shields against steel swords. Commander Liu, now in charge of the local defense, stood aboard the station's command deck. She stared at the approaching blips on the radar. Her officers exchanged uneasy glances. "They outnumber us 2-1, an officer whispered. "They outgun us as well," another said. Liu's expression did not change. "Then we must outthink them." The Krell commander aboard his flagship laughed when he saw the small human frigates move to intercept. "Look at them," he said to his crew. 3 little ships standing against the Dominion. This will be over before the stars change their light. The Krell fleet opened fire, plasma bolts streaking across the void. The human frigates darted and rolled, avoiding direct hits, though their shields flickered with strain. "Evasive pattern Delta," Liu ordered. "Draw them closer to the asteroid belt." The frigates retreated in a dance, weaving toward the dense cluster of rocks beyond the colony. The Krell followed eagerly, confident in their power. What they did not realize was that humanity had studied the battlefield carefully. As the fight raged, miners on New Horizon activated old thruster engines hidden on the largest asteroids. Slowly, the massive rocks began to shift, drifting into the path of the Krell ships. Suddenly, the hunters became the hunted. Plasma blasts struck stone instead of metal. 2 Krell ships collided with drifting asteroids, their hulls breaking apart. On the command deck of the Krell flagship, the commander snarled. "Clever vermin. But tricks will not save them." He ordered his ships to press harder. More plasma bolts lit the darkness. 1 human frigate took a direct hit, its side torn open. Inside, alarms screamed. Smoke filled the corridors. Yet the crew refused to abandon their posts. "Keep firing," the captain shouted. "If this is our end, let it be remembered that we did not bow." From the colony surface, families watched the battle above. Every light in the sky meant life or death for them. Children clung to their parents, asking if the ships would protect them. The answer was whispered prayers and silent hope. Commander Liu clenched her fists. 1 frigate down, 2 left. Their shields were failing. But her eyes remained steady. "Transmit to the colony," she said. "Tell them to hold faith. Humanity does not break." The officers obeyed. voices shaking but strong as they sent the message. The battle dragged on. Hours passed. The Krell destroyed another human frigate, leaving only one. The enemy commander grinned, sensing victory. "Soon the last ship will fall," he told his crew. "Then we will descend upon their colony and remind them why the galaxy bows to us." But at that moment, something changed. The final human frigate pulled away, seeming to retreat. The Krell gave chase, hungry for the kill. Suddenly, the frigate unleashed a burst of mines, scattering them among the asteroids. The Krell ships rushed forward blindly, and detonations lit up the void. 3 enemy ships vanished in fire. Others spun out of control, their engines crippled. The human frigate, battered but alive, turned and fired its last torpedoes. Another Krell ship fell silent. The Krell commander stared at the wreckage, his laughter gone. What should have been an easy conquest had cost him half his fleet. "Enough," he growled. "Withdraw." His surviving ships limped back into hyperspace, leaving the humans bloodied but unbroken. On New Horizon, the people cheered when the last enemy vessel disappeared. Children laughed, not in cruelty but in relief, their voices echoing through the colony streets. Families embraced. Commander Liu stood silent at her console, exhaustion heavy on her shoulders. Her officers looked at her with admiration. We held them off," one whispered. Liu nodded. "At a cost." "But yes, we did." She stared out the viewport at the wreckage of human ships floating among the asteroids. Brave men and women had given their lives that day, not for conquest but for survival. Reports of the battle spread quickly across the galaxy. At first, the story was told with the same mocking tone. The Krell tested Earth. But as details leaked, the destroyed Krell ships, the traps, the mines, the refusal to surrender, the laughter began to fade. Some alien observers shrugged it off. "A lucky fight," they said. The humans had tricks, but tricks cannot win wars. Others, however, grew uneasy. "Perhaps," they whispered, "the humans are not as weak as we believed." Back on Earth, Ambassador Hale read the reports in silence. Captain Reyes stood beside him, jaw tight. "They tested us and we held," Reyes said.
"But at what price?"
2 frigates gone, hundreds dead, and this was only a raid. What happens when they send a true fleet? Hale closed the file slowly. His eyes burned with the same quiet fire as before. "Then," he said softly, "we stop hiding, but not yet. The time is close, but not yet. Far beyond Neptune, in the hidden docks where humanity's real fleet waited, the silent warships slept. Their hulls were black as shadow, their engines silent, their weapons sharp. The crews trained daily, preparing for the moment when they would rise. And though the galaxy still mocked Earth, whispers of unease had begun to spread. The first challenge had come. Humanity had not broken. Humanity had endured. And in the darkness of space, the real fleet listened, waiting for its day. Part 3. Shadows of the Real Fleet. The defeat of the Krell raiding squadron sent waves through the galaxy. Many laughed less now. Their voices hushed as rumors of Earth's clever defense spread. Some dismissed it as luck, but others began to wonder if the humans were more than they seemed. Meanwhile, hidden far beyond Neptune, in the silent darkness of the outer solar system, the real human fleet waited. It was a fleet the galaxy had never seen, a fleet unlike any other. Massive warships, sleek and black, stretched across kilometers of space, their shapes designed for both stealth and power. Each ship hummed with life, though invisible to sensors, as crews trained, prepared, and waited for the order that would change the galaxy's perception of Earth forever. Admiral Helena Price walked the bridge of the lead warship, resolute. Her boots clicked softly against the metal deck. She was not a tall woman, but her presence commanded attention. Every officer aboard respected her, not just for her skill in tactics, but for her calm judgment under pressure. "Report," she said, her voice firm. "Sensors indicate no immediate threat," her tactical officer replied. "The outer colonies are secure. Our systems remain undetected by any alien surveillance." Price nodded, her eyes scanning the holographic displays that projected a star field with tiny points of data. "Good, but keep scanning. We cannot afford a single mistake. The galaxy underestimates us now, but that will not last. Not for long." Across the void, alien scouts occasionally passed near the outer solar system. They caught glimpses of shadowy figures moving silently, but the readings were faint and inconsistent. To them, these were likely malfunctions or space anomalies. None suspected the truth. Earth's real fleet was awake, ready, and watching. In a quiet simulation room aboard the Resolute, junior officers practiced battle drills. Holographic projections of alien armadas floated around them, and each officer learned to predict enemy movements, avoid ambushes, and strike with maximum efficiency. Even the youngest crew members trained as if the galaxy depended on them, because one day it would. Lieutenant Marcus Shaw, a sharp-eyed young pilot, paused mid-drill to ask a question. "Admiral, why are we still hiding? The Krell tried to destroy a colony and they failed. Why don't we show our true fleet now?" Price's eyes met his. She spoke slowly, each word deliberate. "Because the galaxy still believes we are weak. Let them think that. Every mockery, every underestimate is a gift to us. When the time comes, they will never see it coming." Shaw nodded, understanding more in the silence that followed than in any lecture. On Earth, the news of the Krell raid victory boosted morale. Colonists celebrated quietly, mindful of the losses but proud that humanity could defend itself. Engineers and shipbuilders worked tirelessly, constructing new vessels, upgrading old ones, and preparing the infrastructure that would one day support the entire hidden fleet. Scientists in orbital laboratories experimented with energy shields, faster-than-light navigation, and adaptive weapon systems. Every breakthrough was a secret kept from the Council, every innovation a step toward the day humanity would no longer hide. Back in the Council chambers, whispers continued. Some alien races, once certain of humanity's weakness, now debated quietly. "They are clever," one diplomat said, a thin being with crystalline skin. "Too clever to be dismissed." "They are young," replied another. "But perhaps that is dangerous in its own way. Youth can be patient, determined, and unpredictable." No one yet knew how right they were. Weeks passed and small anomalies began appearing across the outer solar system. Sensors detected strange signals that vanished before analysis could begin. Scouts reported fleeting glimpses of massive objects moving against the stars, but each time the objects seemed to disappear without a trace. In every case, the humans behind the scenes smiled. The fleet had been trained in stealth to perfection. They were shadows, phantoms in the black, waiting for the day the galaxy would need to see them in full. Admiral Price stood again on the bridge of the Resolute. She had spent decades preparing for this moment. Every crew member under her command had trained relentlessly, mastering the arts of space combat, strategy, and survival. The galaxy believed humanity was weak. That belief would be their advantage. "Prepare for deployment drills," she ordered. "Run full engagement simulations. I want every officer, every pilot, every engineer ready for combat at a moment's notice. And remember, no one outside this fleet may know our full strength." Not yet. The bridge hummed with controlled activity. Holograms displayed enemy ships, laser paths, and tactical maneuvers. Officers adjusted shields, rerouted power, and practiced emergency protocols. Outside, the stars seemed quiet, indifferent to the growing power hidden in their midst. Meanwhile, on a distant trading station near Alpha Centauri, rumors of strange shadow ships began to reach alien ears. Traders spoke of fleeting flashes, scouts reported objects that appeared and vanished, and some claimed to have seen massive ships larger than anything recorded in their databases. "Impossible," said one alien merchant, shaking her head. "No human ships could be that size." "Perhaps they are hiding something," suggested a scout quietly. But why? What threat could a young species pose? The question hung unanswered. Few considered that the humans had learned the ways of every alien empire, studied their tactics, and mastered what others considered impossible. The galaxy still underestimated them, and that would remain humanity's greatest strength. Back in the hidden fleet, Price walked the deckways between massive ships. She observed the crew in quiet corridors, checking that training exercises were precise and thorough. Each crew member carried a sense of duty, pride, and hope. They were not warriors for conquest. They were protectors of their home, students of survival, and masters of innovation. Lieutenant Shaw approached her again. "Admiral, do you ever worry we are waiting too long?" Price considered the question. "Every day," she admitted. "But patience is a weapon. Patience allows us to grow stronger while the galaxy remains blind. To act too early would waste everything we have built." Shaw nodded slowly. He had begun to understand the weight of command, the strategy behind silence, and the hidden power humanity possessed. The days passed, Filled with training, simulations, and the careful preparation of warships, Earth itself continued to thrive, its colonies expanding quietly. No alien fleet suspected the scale of the force hiding just beyond their reach. Then, reports began to arrive of an approaching alien armada, a massive force, larger and more dangerous than the Krell raiders. Their scanners picked up movement beyond the edge of the system. This was not a test. This was a serious threat. Admiral Price gathered her officers. The moment we have trained for may come sooner than expected. Stay alert. Keep all systems at peak readiness. And remember, our true strength is not yet revealed. The galaxy must not see it until the right moment. The fleet shifted subtly in response, engines humming quietly as ships moved into tactical formations designed for both defense and rapid strike. The hidden fleet, previously a shadow, now prepared to protect its home. On Earth, humans continued their daily lives, unaware of the scale of the preparation beyond Neptune. Children played in fields, families celebrated small victories, and colonists dreamed of the stars. For them, the coming threat was invisible, but the hidden fleet would protect them. And in the outer reaches of the solar system, humanity's true power waited. The shadows of the fleet stretched across space, silent, unseen, and ready. When the time came, they would rise together, an unstoppable force born from patience, strategy, and the determination to survive. No alien race, no matter how ancient or proud, could imagine the scale of what lay in the darkness. The galaxy still whispered of Earth, still laughed at its supposed weakness, but the shadows of the real fleet promised a future where that laughter would end, and where humanity would stand as something the universe could no longer ignore. The calm of the outer solar system was shattered one quiet morning, when alien sensors detected movement near Neptune. A massive armada, hundreds of ships strong, had entered human space. The invaders were confident, their commanders certain that Earth could not possibly defend itself. At the edge of the system, the humans' small visible fleet moved into formation as if preparing for a routine defense. The aliens sneered at the sight. Pathetic, one alien warlord growled. 3 fragile frigates. They dare to stand against the Dominion Armada? Let us end this quickly. The ships of the Council's youngest empire surged forward, ready to destroy the weak humans and claim their colonies as a lesson to the rest of the galaxy. But the humans were ready. Not just ready, they had been waiting for this moment. Aboard the command ship Resolute, Admiral Helena Price watched the alien fleet approach, her calm expression unshaken. The bridge hummed with the quiet confidence of a crew who had trained for this exact scenario. Power to full readiness, she ordered. Do not reveal anything yet. Let them believe victory is easy. Wait for my command, the officers obeyed. Engines quietly adjusted, shields realigned, and energy weapons hummed in silent anticipation. Outside, the small human fleet danced in the void, appearing weak, vulnerable, a lure to draw the arrogant invaders closer. Lieutenant Marcus Shaw, on the bridge beside her, could barely contain his excitement. Admiral? They don't even know we are here. They think it's a simple hunt. Price's eyes remained on the scanners. Yes, and that is exactly why this will work. Patience, Marcus. Patience and precision. Let them come to us. The alien armada advanced boldly, firing warning blasts at the decoy frigates. Their weapons tore through empty space, confident that the humans would fall without a fight. One of the visible frigates took a hit, shields collapsing and alarms blared. Casualties, shouted the alien warlord, laughing. The humans crumble already, but it was all a part of the plan. The crew of the remaining decoy frigates maneuvered carefully, drawing the aliens toward a precise location, an area of deep space between asteroids, moons, and hidden jump points. Keep them moving, Price ordered. Every step brings them closer to the trap. And then the darkness stirred. From the shadows beyond Neptune, massive ships began to decloak. Black and silent, they emerged like giants from the void. Hulls spanned kilometers, larger and more imposing than any alien craft had ever seen. Energy fields shimmered along their sides. Weapons arrays activated with quiet precision, and the bridge crews of these hidden warships stood ready for the order that would change the galaxy forever. The first reports reached the alien armada almost immediately. Sensors picked up ghost ships moving in ways no known technology could achieve. But before the aliens could react, the human fleet revealed itself fully. Thousands of ships emerged from stealth in perfect formation, encircling the invaders like a net closing tight. The outer frigates were joined by battleships, carriers, and specialized vessels armed with experimental weapons. The energy of humanity's true fleet lit up space as shields flared and weapon systems came online. The alien warlord froze, disbelief crossing his features. Impossible. There cannot be so many. So powerful. From the bridge of Resolute, Admiral Price activated communications. Her voice carried across the void, calm but commanding. You thought us weak. You believed the stories, laughed at our appearance, dismissed our colonies, and assumed victory was yours by default. You were wrong. The alien fleets hesitated, unsure whether to attack or flee, but hesitation is fatal in space warfare. Price's order came quietly. Engage. Show them the strength they could not imagine. Human weapons flared. Plasma beams, pulse cannons, and energy torpedoes struck the alien armada with unrelenting precision. Shields of the invaders flared and collapsed under the coordinated assault. Warships that had never been challenged in centuries were destroyed before they could even react. The decoy frigates, once seen as weak and laughable, now moved with deadly efficiency, supporting the larger hidden fleet. Every move had been planned, every calculation precise. The aliens, who had come expecting an easy victory, were trapped in a nightmare of firepower and strategy. On board the flagship of the alien armada, the warlord roared in disbelief as ship after ship vanished in explosions. Withdraw, he bellowed, but retreat was chaos. The humans had cut off escape routes, anticipating every maneuver. On Earth, distant observers scanned the skies and satellites. No one could believe the scale of the revelation. From the perspective of the colonies, the small fleet they had known had grown into a mighty armada in hours. The hidden fleet was no myth, it was reality, and it was unstoppable. Families watched in awe and relief, knowing their defenders were unmatched. Children who had once been afraid of the stars now saw heroes emerge from the darkness. Aboard Resolute, Price watched the battle unfold with careful attention. Target the lead ships of their formation, she ordered. Break their coordination. Let them know humans are not to be underestimated. The fleet responded instantly. Energy beams tore through the front lines of the alien formation. Explosions lit the void. Ships collided, shields failed, and commanders struggled to understand how their numbers could be defeated so quickly. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy witnessed a new truth. Earth was not weak. Earth was not young in spirit. Humanity was clever, patient, and capable of overwhelming power when fully revealed. Even the smallest human ships played a role. Specialized stealth frigates darted between the larger warships, striking enemy weak points, disabling communications and creating confusion. The alien fleets, once confident, were now panicked and disorganized. In one decisive moment, Price ordered the full fleet to form a crescent around the main alien force. Encircle them, she commanded. No escape, no mercy for arrogance. Within minutes, the alien armada was surrounded. Retreat was impossible. Their weapons, advanced as they were, could not penetrate the coordinated human formation. Ships fell one by one until the alien commander's confidence was shattered entirely. Cease fire, the alien warlord finally ordered, trembling. We yield. For now. Admiral Price's voice echoed across space once more. Yield not because we asked. Yield because you assumed weakness and were wrong. Let this lesson be remembered. The surviving alien ships retreated, broken and humiliated. What had begun as a routine attack had become a disaster for the invaders, a crushing revelation of humanity's power. After the battle, the human fleet regrouped. Repairs were made swiftly, and communications ensured that every crew member was accounted for. Though victorious, the Admiral's tone remained serious. This was only the beginning, she reminded her officers. The galaxy will adapt, but so will we. Humanity has shown its strength, but patience must continue. Let them remember the shadows before they see the light. Lieutenant Shaw looked out at the stars, awe written across his face. They laughed at us, and now they'll think twice before mocking Earth again. Price nodded. Yes, but this victory is not for pride. It is for survival. Remember that. Far across the galaxy, the Council recorded the events. Scholars, historians, and diplomats wrote in stunned silence. The humans had revealed their fleet, a force so massive and disciplined that no empire could ignore it. Laughter had ended, replaced by respect and fear. The young species from Earth had proven that patience, ingenuity, and unity could overcome centuries of scorn and ridicule. The galaxy, once filled with doubt about humanity, now whispered a new truth. Do not underestimate the humans. And as the hidden fleet returned to its silent stations beyond Neptune, the stars seemed to hum quietly, aware that a new power had emerged, one that would shape the fate of the galaxy for generations to come. The remnants of the defeated alien armada fled the solar system in disarray, their once confident fleet shattered by the unseen might of Earth's hidden forces. Shock and disbelief swept across the galaxy. The stories of the weak humans were no more. In their place rose whispers of caution, of respect, and of a new, unforeseen power. Aboard the flagship Resolute, Admiral Helena Price surveyed the aftermath. The stars were quiet now, but the echoes of the battle remained in her mind. She walked the deckways, her boots clicking softly against the metal floor. Crew members who had fought bravely were attending to repairs, checking systems and sharing quiet words of relief. Report, she called, as she reached the tactical bridge. All systems stable. Admiral, replied Lieutenant Marcus Shaw. Repairs are underway, and we've accounted for every crew member. Losses were minimal considering the scale of the battle. Price nodded. Good. Humanity has endured and we have shown our strength. But this is not the end. The galaxy will adapt. Our vigilance must continue. On Earth, the news of the victory traveled faster than any report had before. Colonists cheered in streets, families embraced, and children looked up at the stars with new wonder. Schools and academies held lessons on courage, strategy, and unity, using the battle as a teaching story. Scientists and engineers returned to their labs with renewed vigor, knowing that innovation had won the day, and it would continue to safeguard humanity. Even the leaders of the Galactic Council could not ignore the lesson. Once dismissive and mocking, many alien races now reconsidered their attitude toward the humans. Diplomats approached Earth with caution, some out of respect, others out of fear of provoking a power they had underestimated for far too long. At Orion Station, the Council convened an emergency session. The alien warlord who had mocked Earth in the first meeting of the Council now stood silently, his tusks clenched in frustration. His advisors whispered hurriedly around him. Never have we faced a species like this, said a crystalline-skinned diplomat. They hide their strength, plan patiently, and strike with precision. The humans are not young children. They are strategists, warriors, and survivors. The warlord said nothing. He understood what words could not capture. Earth had taught the galaxy that arrogance could be deadly. Back in the solar system, humanity's fleet regrouped beyond Neptune. Repairs continued and ships resupplied for the future. The hidden fleet, once a shadow, had become a symbol of hope and power. Admiral Price addressed her officers in the main briefing room. Her voice was steady, commanding attention from every rank. Today, humanity has proven that we are not a species to be mocked or underestimated. Our patience, our training, and our unity have carried us through this challenge. But this victory is only a beginning. The galaxy is vast and many will test us. Our role is clear. We protect our home, defend our people, and maintain the strength that others might think impossible. The officers nodded, inspired. They understood that the battle had not been for conquest but for survival, and in doing so, humanity had won something more important, the respect of the stars. Reports continued to arrive from distant systems. Traders, explorers, and even alien scouts confirmed what had happened. The story spread like wildfire. Earth's fleet is unlike any other. Their technology, strategy, and coordination are unmatched. In many systems, fear replaced mockery. In others, admiration took root. Some civilizations approached Earth with requests for dialogue, trade, and alliance. Humanity, however, made its position clear. They sought neither empire nor domination, only respect and understanding. Ambassador Jonathan Hale, now returning to the Council in full recognition, spoke before the Assembly. We fight not to rule but to survive. We will not conquer unless provoked. We will not dominate unless necessary. Humanity asks only for fairness, for opportunity, and for the recognition of our place in this galaxy. The chamber fell silent. No laughter remained. The humans had transformed from targets of ridicule into a species that commanded attention and respect. In the colonies, life returned to a measured rhythm. Children played, adults worked, and families lived in hope and safety. Yet the story of the hidden fleet became legend even among ordinary citizens. Tales were told in schools, in training halls. and in family homes, stories of courage, unity, and preparation that had preserved humanity from those who had mocked them. Scientists continued their work in secret, developing faster ships, more advanced energy shields, and weapon systems designed to deter aggression without inviting war. Humanity understood that strength was not only measured in firepower, but in wisdom, preparation, and the ability to act when necessary. Even the alien races, who had once scoffed at Earth, began to change their view. Some sent envoys to discuss trade and collaboration. Others sent scholars to study human methods and strategy. A new respect had been earned, and it was clear that the galaxy would never underestimate Earth again. On Orion Station, the warlord who had mocked humanity first now spoke quietly to his peers. They were patient. They waited while we laughed, while we thought ourselves superior. They struck when the time was right. We underestimated them, and we paid the price. His words were met with nods. The lesson had been harsh but undeniable. Humanity had proven that even a young, isolated species could rise to power through unity, patience, and intelligence. In the hidden fleet beyond Neptune, the human ships returned to their stations. Admiral Price walked among the crews, acknowledging their service and courage. "You have done more than fight," she said. "You have changed the galaxy's perception of Earth. Your patience, skill, and courage have shown that humanity is not weak. Remember this feeling, but do not let pride cloud your judgment. The galaxy is vast, and our duty is to protect our people and preserve our strength." Lieutenant Shaw smiled. "I never imagined we could achieve something like this." Price looked at him. "Neither did they, Marcus. Neither did they." Weeks later, the Galactic Council officially recognized Earth as a full member. Ambassador Hale attended the ceremony, flanked by humans from every branch of the fleet and colonies. The banners of Earth flew alongside those of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. For the first time, humans were not laughed at, dismissed, or underestimated. They were acknowledged as equals, an accomplishment earned through courage, patience, and unwavering unity. As Earth celebrated its newfound recognition, Admiral Price addressed the fleet one final time before dispersal. "Let this victory remind us of what we are capable of," she said. "The galaxy may test us again, it will. But humanity has proven that we endure. We survive, we adapt, and when the time comes, we will rise stronger than anyone can imagine." Her officers saluted, and the fleet prepared to return to patrols, research missions, and defensive positions throughout the solar system. In quiet corners of the galaxy, whispers continued. Other species watched carefully, now cautious of Earth's intentions, wary of the humans' ingenuity and respectful of their patience. They had learned the lesson: never underestimate humanity. On Earth, families returned to their homes. Children looked to the stars with dreams of exploration. Engineers designed new ships, and scientists prepared for discoveries yet unseen. The planet had endured mockery, survived attacks, and revealed its true strength. Humanity had risen, and in the vast blackness of space, the hidden fleet waited, watching over its home, prepared to act whenever necessary. The galaxy had learned the truth. Humanity was clever, patient, united, and stronger than anyone had imagined. No one would laugh at Earth again.